Go into a hotel and whack off somebody.
Weird way of doing sex.
In this world, I'm cesspool of kindness and ethical blindness. So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, was so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. Oh, I just can't understand it. So defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Guess everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish Mr. Whitebeard, you're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. She lives in a pool of blood and cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you alive, catch, ready, then gag. Oh, I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bo's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public dominant. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. Don't let the fucking spill quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do the show live on Sundays, except for now. Today's Monday, but we do this show on Sundays, 7 p.m. Pacific, right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project at echoplexmedia.com/support. I see a very big supporter of ours up in the chat, actually. From the beginning, everybody say hi to Ron Sorrell, not a regular around here. Don't usually even mention the chat during the podcast part of the show, but shit. Ron's been a supporter of this project since the beginning, and we do appreciate that. There's a bunch of different ways to support our project. The most important and best one is at eplex.store. It's through Fourth Wall, and Fourth Wall has been great to us. They've allowed us to monetize in ways we never thought possible. I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr, now in the East Bay, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. There's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Donate the cops. When the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Donate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Donate the cops. Thank your local police, 'cause they don't do nothing wrong. Thank your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fairest judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. 'Cause they don't do nothing wrong. Donate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job. Donate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Donate the cops. 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 Donate the cops.
So we did a bunch of stuff on Conspiracy Bingo on Friday about the fires in Maui, and we're not going to do a whole lot about them tonight, but we are going to start out with the former president of the United States of America claiming that if he was president, maybe there wouldn't have been no fires.
The sad thing is, it should never have happened. Our government was not prepared, and very importantly, the aftermath is going very poorly, with the governor of the island wanting to do nothing but blame it on global warming and other things that just happen to pop into his head. It is a disgraceful thing that Joe Biden refuses to help or comment on the tragedy in Maui, just as he refused to help or comment on the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, for a very, very long time.
Did Joe Biden not say anything about Maui? I think that guy's lying, everybody. I'm not an expert, but I think that guy might be lying to you. Might be saying things that aren't true. But it's like, you can't, like, it's an island. It's very hard to get resources there. It takes a while. And the mayor, the governor of Hawaii is going to blame global warming, or just, whatever pops into his head. Come on, man. What a fucking asshole. But don't worry, come up and says a real thing, and that's going to be a non-insignificant part of the show today. Trump and 18 others were indicted in Georgia.
Specifically, the indictment brings felony charges against Donald John Trump, Rudolph William Louis Giuliani, John Charles Eastman, Mark Randall Meadows, John Cheeseborough, Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Lynn Ellis, Ray Stallings Smith III, Robert David Cheeley, Michael A. Roman, David James Schaefer, Sean Micah Tresher Steele, Stephen Cliffgard Lee, Harrison William Prescott Floyd, Travion C. Cootie, Sydney Catherine Powell, Kathleen Austin Latham, Scott Graham Hall, and Misty Hampton, also known as Emily Misty Hayes.
So yeah, that's the comeuppance there. We're not going to really cover a lot of the stuff about the indictment, but you know how it goes around here. We're going to cover the response. We're going to cover the media response. First up, we got, well, actually, that call was a good call because that's what he said. This is from Fox News. This is Jonathan Turley defending the phone call when he asked, the Georgia officials to find some votes for him. So, assuming the Twitter website behaves, which it's mostly been doing the last couple of days, go ahead and check this clip out.
One of the most concerning aspects about this particular investigation, and there's a number of them, is that it began after the disclosure of the call of Donald Trump to Georgia election officials. That call has been widely misrepresented, in my view. In the call, President Trump at the time said you only need to find around 11,000 votes. And that has been taken as an invitation for fraud. There is, of course, a more obvious explanation, and that is the Georgia officials were saying that further state recounts might not be necessary. And it would be natural for Trump to say, look, you only need to find 11,000 to turn the outcome of this election. So I don't need that many votes. Thus, a state recount is justified.
What? Yo, come on, even if you believe sort of that narrative, what that guy just said is stupid. It's not just so much that he's wrong, it's that he's dumb, that he's like, well, you just need to find him. It's like, come on, dude. I mean, we all kind of know what that meant. We all know what that meant. Just I don't know, say that it's okay to do that. I don't know. Do this better. Anyway, here we go. We got Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is pissed, apparently. I wonder if he's going to mention his podcast, because he mentions his podcast a lot.
But you asked what my reaction is. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at these over and over and over again. If there are indictments tonight, it'll be the fourth indictment of Donald Trump. This is disgraceful. Our country is over 200 years old. We have never once indicted a former president or a candidate and a leading candidate for president. And this is Joe Biden and this is the Democrats weaponizing the justice system because they're afraid of the voters. This is disgraceful. It is wrong, and it is an abuse of power by angry Democrats who have decided the rule of law doesn't matter to them anymore.
So Joe Biden now runs the state of Georgia and their court apparatus, apparently, obviously. Only one of these is federal, right? Aren't the other three state? Anyway, this is the state of Georgia, not usually known for being like a Democratic stronghold. It's like a swing state, a purple state. It could go either way. And they've seen fit to file what I think are probably the most damning and the most intense charges so far. So we'll see. But one of my, as you can tell, this is recorded live if you're listening to the podcast. One of my, up there it goes. Great website you got there, Twitter. Sometimes things just don't load on Twitter. Up next we got, what if they just actually changed the law in Georgia so that the governor, who said he has no intention of issuing a pardon anyway, can pardon the president on RICO charges. See, my understanding in the state of Georgia is the racketeering laws are such that on the off chance the governor is in charge or is involved in the racketeering, that the governor cannot pardon in a racketeering case. So they don't like that very much either. So what if they just change that? What if they just change the racketeering laws in Georgia?
More than crossing the Rubicon, it is only illegal to object to elections in third world Marxist hellholes, and now in New York, D.C., and Atlanta.
As far as presidential pardons go, Mike, this is different, right? This is set aside. A state indictment, a state conviction is a different animal than a federal conviction. Is that a fair assessment?
It is, and under the Georgia law, there's a statute that limits the Republican governor's ability to pardon, and I think that the legislature in Georgia needs to amend that statute and give Governor Kemp the ability to pardon in this situation, because this is clear election interference. It's clear Democrat lawfare by Democrat prosecutors, where they're trying to have Democrat prosecutors, Democrat judges, and Democrat juries and Democrat hellholes decide the next presidential election instead of the American people.
Okay, this is wild. So they're not going to change the law so that the governor can now pardon in a racketeering case. I think it was specifically put in the racketeering that, or maybe in the pardon, they adjusted the pardon. There's something about Georgia's RICO laws that are like a little tougher than other states. I wish I would have read more into it, but I'm busy. Everybody knows I just moved. But just change the law, actually. Also, not for nothing, the current governor said that he has no intention, has no interest in pardoning. And the previous governor, Georgia's also a Republican, said that he plans on testifying. So not looking great here. But don't worry, Marjorie the Gathering knows who they should really be going after in Georgia.
Something that the DAs all seem to share an ideology here politically. I mean, you've got Willis's family was made up of Marxist Black Panthers. You've got Alvin Bragg, obviously buys into the same kind of ideology, the way that he's destroying this city. He doesn't want to throw anybody in prison for committing crime. They all share this really just devastating ideology that is so devastating for this country. They unite around that, and then they try and take down somebody like this, somebody like former President Trump. It kind of makes sense.
That's right, Rob. And people everywhere are terrified of this government. This is something that we expect in third world countries, that we expect in communist regimes. But this is what we're seeing in America today. You know, Rob, I live in a rural district. This is where people really want $1.75 gas back. Lady,
you live in a district that looks like fucking stalactites. Has anybody ever looked at Marjorie Taylor or Marjorie the Gathering's district? It is the farthest thing from a square or a rectangle you will ever see.
Like the Biden policies, a lot of people on fixed incomes, like senior citizens, single moms, just good working people, are going month to month with their paychecks and maxing out their credit cards. With high inflation, high grocery
people
bills,
in cities live paycheck to paycheck too.
High electricity bills and high gas bills. But they're watching the Biden regime actually try to arrest President Trump, lock him up in jail for the rest of his life, which is a death sentence.
I mean, the man is made of 30% Big Mac. I'm not sure the rest of his life is a very long time.
Go after his supporters across the state. It's something that it's still shocking. I can't even believe it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you something about Atlanta, Rob, and it's really important for people to know.
Black people live there.
Atlanta has some of the highest crime in the country.
Yeah.
Murder, rape, carjacking, and the
Ooh, I bet if we look watch Atlanta not be even in the top 10.
Georgia is one of the worst states in the country for child sex trafficking. Jima last week with Homeland actually told me that every single month in the state of Georgia, every month, men will buy a child for sex on average 7,200 times.
This is some fucking QAnon bullshit.
Going after child sex predators and traffickers. Bonnie Willis should be going after murderers, rapists, car thefts.
But that's not
Bonnie Willis. No, she's not.
That's not politically beneficial. There's no political.
There's no political benefit to going after somebody who stole cars. Yeah, there is. Oh my God. The defense isn't that none of this was illegal, even from Marge, right? From Marjorie the Gathering here. The defense is this lady should be going after petty crime. I mean, she said murder too, but I mean, and car theft is bad. If your car gets fucking stolen when you go back to try to go home, that sucks. But the defense here isn't that this is that none of these things were illegal or violated any of these statutes. The defense here is, they should be going after other crime, as if they're not. And somebody in chat just said that per capita Atlanta isn't even in the top 100 murder rate. And yeah, my understanding is that Atlanta, with all of its problems, is a fairly safe place with fairly low violent crime, just like most American cities, especially compared to the fucking late 80s. Up next, we got box wine Jeanine Pirro. She's got the real answers, and if she doesn't have them yet, she'll find them at the bottom of that box of wine.
The issue is not whether he wanted to overthrow it, but did he believe that he won? If he believed that he won, pursuing all these avenues are okay for him because in themselves they are not illegal. If
Wait,
you
what?
say, look, I need to find 11,000 votes, that's very different from saying, I need you to find me 11,000 votes somewhere. What? He just knows he's behind by 11,700 votes. And finally, did he know he lost, and did he then pursue all these avenues, or did he believe he won and was doing everything he can? It's going to be very hard to prove that.
Harold.
But the thing you're trying to suggest that they need to prove isn't really what the statutes say. It doesn't matter what you think he believed. What the question here is, what is his behavior? And his behavior is the problem. It's not like what Jeanine Boxwine Pirro thinks that he believed. He could very well believe that he won the election, but it doesn't make everything he does subsequent to that legal. I could believe that I am the #1 channel on Twitch, that I have the most viewers here. But then if my metrics were to say that there are 29 people here, well, I can't very well go burn down the Twitch headquarters, right? Like, all right, here's Mike Huckabee. He's going to talk about, I guess maybe we should indict Biden for the small amount of student loan forgiveness that happened.
Where are the Republican DAs? Where are the Republican DAs who can look into, prosecute, pursue Democrats? If there's a reason, obviously, we don't want them to just go after them, but where are they?
That's a
well, they're not the heads of large cities.
Question, Amanda, and I hope that some of them are listening to you right now, because I think Republicans are going to have to understand that while we might rather play checkers, the Democrats are playing rugby, and they're playing rough. And if we don't play the game that is being played against us, we're going to be hauled off the field all bloody and wonder what hit us, what happened out there. So I'm thrilled with the state.
What hit you is probably the consequences of your own fucking actions, you idiot.
In Georgia, I think he's doing exactly the right thing. And I wish some prosecutors, local prosecutors across the country, might decide to indict Joe Biden for border issues. Go after him and indict him for taking taxpayer money illegally to give it to college students who were deadbeats and didn't pay off their loans.
They're no longer college students, and most of those people are working.
Let's just say, look, if we're going to play a baseball game, both sides gets to come to home plate with a bat in hand, and we're going to come out swinging. Because this is no longer a matter of saying, well, we want to be polite and nice. We want to be civic and civil. We'd love to be that. But the Democrats are not playing that game. And if we don't get in it, we're going to get run over by it.
That's stupid. It's dumb. You can make, I don't know, there's some arguments you can make against student loan forgiveness. You do a lot of means testing, make sure that like rich people with rich parents aren't having that happen and shit like that. You start means testing families, see what kind of homes fucking people's mom and dad own, that kind of stuff. Even like auntie and uncle, but like this, oh, well, the fucking DA should go after him. Which DA? Where? This is a federal issue. It wouldn't be the DA. And aren't we supposed to not be able to indict a sitting president? I thought we weren't supposed to be able to do that. I heard that like a lot actually during the last administration. They would call it regime. I prefer the term administration. We heard a lot. Remember, can't indict a sitting president. Well, I guess now, because half of these people think that Trump's still the president, I guess you can indict the sitting president if you indict the true and real president. But up next, we got Ronna McDaniel. Ronna McDaniel is the Republican National Committee chair. And people think that, okay, so there's a case going on about fake electors. I believe it's in Michigan. There was a slate of fake electors, and they think that Ronna McDaniel, the chair of the Republican Party, is going to protect those fake electors who were charged with election crimes because it is illegal to be a fake elector. So I guess the head of the RNC should protect them somehow.
Well, you just mentioned people to become poll watchers. People want to know if the RNC is going to protect them. Ronna, I'd like to know what you all are doing about these people who are getting indicted because they were a special elector. I mean, I'm told that and you're talking about Michigan. The Michigan AG is going after all the Republican electors. There's an 81-year-old woman in Michigan who's looking at an indictment because she was an elector. How are you planning on getting more electors to say, yeah, okay, I'll join the group and become an elector? I'm a lawyer. I'll give advice to Republicans if they're facing an indictment.
Well, we have to win, Maria, and this is part of the Democrat plan, is to put people in such jeopardy and scare them so much that they'll leave the system, that they won't be a lawyer, that they won't be an elector. This is their plan. So
here's how you avoid this. You win Michigan. These are winner-take-all states. So even if you win by one fucking vote, you get all the electoral college votes and therefore all the electors. I think the system's dumb. Maybe we get them on board with changing that system because I think that system's dumb and it has a tendency to disenfranchise a lot of people. People who vote for who I vote for and people who vote for people who I don't vote for. But the thing is, I don't think they want to do that because if they got rid of or even reformed the electoral college, made it proportional, they'd get clobbered. Absolutely fucking clobbered. Just fucking clobbered. Anyway, up next we got Steve Bannon. I actually kind of agree with Steve Bannon here. This is probably going to be the end effect of all of this.
To go throughout the morning, we're going to talk about institutions. You talk about institutions that are broken. This lawfare is all 100% is to stop Trump and the Trump movement. 1,000%. Not even a question about that. But now the lawlessness in Georgia is pretty shocking because now they're rounding up. What is it? 18 people with Trump or 17 people, and I think 18 with Trump.
That's a racketeering. Yes, they're charging him under a racketeering statute. Racketeering usually involves RICO. The CO is criminal organization. Well, 18 people sounds like an organization to me.
And many of these just totally innocent, type war room posse types, right? They're going to try to break them, try to bankrupt them, all of it. They have no bounds. They will do anything. Think about that for a second. They will do anything. They will break any law. They will destroy any institution. They will do anything to defeat Donald Trump. Now, why is that? Think about that for a second. Why is that?
It might be because they believe that they have evidence that these people broke these laws and that they can convict them. I don't love no fucking DA's office and shit, but they don't tend to go after you if they don't think they can win.
Because of you. They do not want the working class and middle class people in this country to have any say-so in the direction of this country. And let me tell you some things we're going to go on today.
Fake populism. It's like, the working class and the middle class. The fucking J6 and shit was all like fucking the head of the homeowners association, fucking landlords and real estate agents and small business owners and shit. There were other people mixed in there, but there was a lot of the PMC in there. A lot of PMC that were at that J6. Don't let them fool you. Working class people tend to be liberal or of the left. They just mean with a white working class. When they say working class, they mean the white working class. They don't mean people of color who make up the majority of the working class in cities because they don't think people in cities are people. The Republican Party and the conservative movement has hated densely populated cities for a while because that's how they fucking lose elections. Up next, we got a Trump attorney, Alina Habba, mad at Ducey because I guess Ducey used to love Trump and now, I don't know, maybe Ducey fucking said something that this attorney didn't like. Who knows?
Wow. What do you make? Now, I've heard from a lot of legal analysts, and they say what is different about this case than the federal cases is Georgia has laws that are specifically tailored to election interference and things like that. Andy McCarthy, a Fox News contributor, and also he wrote an op-ed in the New York Post. He said that the Georgia indictment is the most perilous threat to former President Trump. Does President Trump know that this is a perilous threat?
We do not agree.
A tough question from the Deuce, actually. He's like, Does he know this? That's actually kind of a tough question.
That it is a perilous threat because we actually have inside information. So I love when people,
what inside information?
Well, the inside information, Steve, and you used to love Trump, but I got
But wait, what are you talking about? You said we have inside information. He's like, what information? You could love the person they're talking about, and if you're the host of a fucking news talk show, we'll loosely call the fucking Fox and Friends a news talk show. You're still like, well, what information? Like was that some kind of gotcha? You're like, we have information. He's like, oh, what's that information? Oh, you used to love this guy. How dare you come after me?
to tell you. I mean, this is something I'm not going to breach, right? I have confidentiality and I have ethics, and I'm going to continue.
So you're not going to tell us. Look at the Deuce going after her. The Deuce is loose in this one. Check this out.
You used to love Trump, but I got to tell you, I mean, this is something I'm not going to breach, right? I have confidentiality and I have ethics, and I'm going to continue. But I think you need to understand something. When somebody is given a report, and he has reports that show that there was interference, and you could be advised by one lawyer that says, oh, I don't think so, and you could have another lawyer that says, no, I do think so, and here's some reports, and we know that there were issues in Fulton County, we know.
But these lawyers were part of the criminal conspiracy. We're talking about like Rudy Giuliani and that lady that they called the Kraken, who Trump himself said is crazy. I think he called her fucking crazy.
Issues, and the integrity of our election is in question at this very moment. And when he says, I want to look into it, I don't trust it, we need to look into it, that's his obligation as a president, okay? Look at Letitia James, for instance, Steve. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, stood up on a podium, who's suing the Trump Organization, and said, President Trump is an illegitimate president. Now, is she going to get criminally charged?
Did she take any action in furtherance of that to try to change the results of any of the election? I thought these people liked free speech.
What about Hillary Clinton?
Every day, she said.
You know, it's interesting when you see how the Biden family is
Hillary Clinton conceded on election night.
Treated versus the Trump family is treated.
Did she?
Of how the Biden family is treated versus the Trump family is treated.
She just called them the Tramp family.
How is he? Why would he even want to run again when he knows this is going to happen? Is it worth it to him?
Yes.
Yes, because it might be the only way that he avoids all these. All this,
because
maybe.
That's why he's running. It's absolutely worth it. He loves the country. He knows the country's in trouble. And I think we all love the country. We wouldn't be waking up and doing this every day if we didn't. We're in a
waking up and doing what?
Bad state right now, and this is third world stuff. It's incredibly frightening. The fact that his due process rights and an indictment went up, which Fannie had to have signed, and that went up before a grand jury voted on it, that says it all.
Wait, what? Did they did? It probably got leaked before the grand jury vote was finalized or some shit. They didn't fucking, like, the grand jury does the indicting. You can't indict somebody without a grand jury. So they probably already knew the results. What will probably happen here, and I don't know, but what probably happened here was that they knew the results, but the results hadn't been like officially finalized, and someone fucking leaked the results. I almost guarantee that's what went down. It was a procedural thing. Anyway, don't worry. What we got next? The Dixiecrats. The Dixiecrats are coming. They're going to start a civil war.
Yeah, she also famously said on camera that, you can be the best candidate, you can become the nominee and still have the election stolen from you. And she was talking about Donald Trump stealing the election from her in 2016.
I think I know exactly what interview she's talking about, and she was talking about the Electoral College. And I think that, twice in my life, actually, we've watched the Electoral College take the election away from the person who got the most votes.
And of course, we've got Democrat after.
It's not illegal. It's the fucking law. It's the way it goes. But I think that twice in my life I've seen that happen.
Democrat, the RNC, put together a 12-minute video of Democrats insisting that the 2000 election was stolen, that the 2004 election was stolen, that the 2016 election was stolen. In fact, every presidential election.
And it could be said that the 2000 election was stolen by the Supreme Court. But again, the candidate who was on the losing end of that just conceded.
21st century that the Democrats have lost. They insist, and I'm talking the DNC chair, members of Congress, cabinet members, Hillary Clinton, they insist that every presidential election in the 21st century that they've lost was stolen.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they insist that at all.
First of all, I want to make sure that when we're talking about this latest indictment, the word...
Oh, this guy's like, oh, we got sued by fucking Dominion. Oh, hold on, put the brakes on. He's like, everybody, we got sued by Dominion. We settled with them. Let's not poke a stick in that hive here.
We use allegedly as we're talking about the facts contained in the indictment. I think that's very important. We shouldn't talk to them as being factual. That's why we're going to have the trial. That's right. And think about this. How tone deaf can we be? So this is the woman who, the former FBI director on national TV, made the prima facie case that she should be indicted, and then they didn't prosecute. This is also the same woman that through op-ed research against her political opponent, and then hid the fact that it actually came from her that resulted in a 3-year investigation against former President Trump. And then, as you said,
oh, they're talking about the Steele dossier. I want so badly to believe in the P-tape.
You know, for the past 5-6 years, she's been saying how President Trump was illegitimate. It's completely tone deaf. I still don't understand why she even has a forum or a platform.
Well, and then there were the tens of thousands of emails that were under indictment by the Congress, or under subpoena, rather, by the Congress.
Those are two different things. Subpoena and indictment are two very different things, sir. No. They were subpoenaed. Now we also, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but now as soon as there's emails that are released about anything, everybody assumes there's some scandal there. You could be like, uh-oh, Gay Dave's emails got released. People be like, oh shit, Gay Dave is a fucking crook. And it's like, well, no, somebody just released my emails. Feel free to read them. They're, you know, depending on which inbox they're in, they're either pretty boring or you might find some of it kind of funny.
Congress, and she ordered her minions to smash the BlackBerries with hammers, which they did. Use BleachBit. They brought in a professional group. Use BleachBit to scrub the servers and the hard drives, and classified documents and under subpoena by Congress.
And hence you see Hillary there on Rachel Maddow. They're taking a victory lap, thinking, you know what, I got away with this. Trump's not going to get away with this. This is just another victory lap, and something I even wanted to point out.
But this is the like if the police show up and none of you would do this, right? But if the police show up and you've done a domestic violence and they're going to take you away and you go, but the neighbor over there, they did a domestic violence. Well, what is that? Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's a fucking, let's just call the whole thing off now.
With you, Marcus, how the sheriff down there in Fulton County, he wants to get Trump's mugshot out of all of this. Again, fourth indictment, and he's going around saying there's going to be a mugshot. They want this to be a big show. This is a distraction from what's going on with
I want it all to be fucking televised. Fuck it. Let's party.
Right now, and it's sick.
I guess that the only thing we have left is waiting for the Democrats to fire on Fort Sumter again.
So I think...
Oh, no. Oh, dude, there's a... Oh, no. Oh, man, you motherfucker. There's like a black dude sitting next to you. Shut the fuck up.
Again, when we're going to use allegedly, I hope that we continue with that standard when we talk about Joe Biden and many other things. We haven't done that thus far. And I think when we have to remember that Hillary Clinton also conceded within 24 hours after she called Donald Trump that night and conceded the next morning.
And then went out and started declaring that the election was stolen.
Which she has every right to do, just like Donald Trump.
She has every right to do. Yeah, but she should be under indictment.
Wait, why? She conceded the election.
Can't make fake electors, which he did not do.
And that
yeah, this is about behavior. This isn't this is all about like the behavior. This isn't about like what somebody's rhetoric on television was. This is about fucking behavior. Here's a great one. That last clip was crazy, by the way. Because that guy was on Newsmax. I guarantee that black guy was a conservative, and he was like, oh, you didn't just do this with the fucking Civil War. Did you, motherfucker? My fucking God. Okay, this one's pretty good. This one's from also from Newsmax. They're trying to get sued by somebody else now. It looks like there's nothing in the Constitution that prevents Donald Trump from serving as the president of the United States from a jail cell.
Jeff, the rules don't apply to Democrats. 240 years of president does not apply if your name's Donald Trump. In history, I just get the feeling that historians are going to look back at this a century from now and laugh at where we were as a country and just how truly pathetic.
Oh, this guy believes that there's going to be what did he say, 100 years from now? This guy believes in 100 years from now. How cute.
Like this all really is.
I mean, it's crazy. As soon as Trump was elected, his offices were wiretapped. Everybody knows it was a false Russia collusion theory that allowed them to try to dig into him. And this continues even through the 2020 elections. All he was doing, he tweeted. That was his biggest crime, saying that he felt that he won the election. But at the same time, you've got some. No.
They conspired in Michigan to send fake electors to the Electoral College vote. And then he tried to strong arm people, Republicans, other Republicans in Georgia. And they all turned on him. Because they were like, fuck this.
Police captain who is being part of this indictment. This is a crazy circus that is intended to basically, tie Donald Trump up, as we know. But the other thing, too, I was just curious from Thane, you've got 6 months to do discovery and depositions from 19 people or 20 people. Is that even possible?
Yes. This is possible. 6 months, 19 people, you could depose them twice. So that's fucking 38 days of depositions. That's barely 1/6 of the time. And then discover, this is plenty of time. And it always gets pushed back. It might go 9 months or a year.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And in which case is he talking about? Each case is different.
Again, this is a very fact-detailed indictment.
Whoa, who's this guy?
The one in D.C. was very law-based.
This guy has an unlicensed nuclear reactor in his basement. Look at this guy.
It was in a creative attempt to use criminal statutes in a way that really haven't been used before. That's not what's happening here. This is very detailed. This tweet, that comment, this statement, that person, this was what he did, this is what she did. That
even the judge even looks like Hunter Biden.
Requires an incredibly meticulous presentation of evidence. And you're right, you're dealing with lots of evidentiary objections. You've got lawyers here. There's attorney-client privilege. Technically, you're not allowed to, these are sacred conversations.
It's not true. Attorney-client privilege is pretty broad, but it does not extend to my lawyer and I were engaged in criminal conspiracy. That's where that fucking line gets cut off. And it's fuzzy and messy, and who knows how it's going to fucking shake out. But that's where that line is.
Right. Between an attorney and his or her client.
Right.
This is going to be a mess for them to untangle, and I don't see how they can do it in 6 months.
Thane, just a quick one here. It appears that the goal, at least right now, is to get a conviction and get Donald Trump behind bars, even if it's election day. What's wild is that, let's say Trump is the nominee. If he loses to Joe Biden or whomever else is the Democratic nominee in November 2024, he's staying in jail because there is no pardon in the state of Georgia. You have to serve at least 5 years before a pardon would be possible, meaning, let's say, somebody else.
And I don't think it's for all things. I think for RICO stuff specifically. I could be wrong, but Georgia's RICO fucking chart, oh my God. Because they cleaned it up a lot, but there was a lot of organized crime in fucking Georgia. And even Marjorie the Gathering brought it up. There's a lot of, like, not necessarily child trafficking, but human trafficking for labor and stuff that was going on. So their fucking racketeering laws are pretty strong.
Ron DeSantis or whomever on the Republican side is elected president, they wouldn't have the ability to pardon President Trump. Is that accurate?
You're absolutely right. These are
the president can't pardon you for a state crime. The governor has to.
State crimes, pardoning, or even telling the Justice Department to back off doesn't matter here. This is not the Justice Department. This is the state of Georgia and a prosecutor in Georgia. The better question, Rob, to ask yourself is,
states' rights and all.
Can you redecorate a jail cell and make it look like the Oval Office?
Yeah.
Because there is nothing in the Constitution that prevents Donald Trump from serving as president of the United States from a jail cell. If
that
that's
would just be the most goddamn American thing.
American people, if they're prepared to vote for somebody that's under criminal indictment, as in convicted in Georgia, and is sitting in a jail in Atlanta, there's nothing to stop him from serving as president from that jail cell.
Yes, but what's changed this morning is now it is White House or bust, or obviously door number 2 would be winning the case. Right. And he's got a very good chance at that.
Fucking Doc from Back to the Future. I do not want that guy as my lawyer. That guy looks like he's involved in some kind of crime that I've never even heard of. Up next, we got Dave Hayes, the praying medic. This guy's usually in red light, but it is very topical to what we've been talking about the rest of the beginning of the show, so I decided to just kind of put him kind of towards the end of this segment of the show. He's going to talk about how we need to start cracking the skulls and making arrests because, you know, the storm is coming.
NSA has been scooping up all electronic communications in the United States for decades. Every keystroke, every email, every text message, every data transfer that happens in the United States, NSA has it. They collect it. They have it all. And so when Q says we have it all, Q is not joking. They literally have all electronic communications.
He's literally just referencing Q.
So if there is any evidence of election fraud that is electronic, whether it's transferring data, whether it is flipping votes, whether it's emails, text messages, they've got it. Trump was the president for 4 years, and he had access to the highest level of information. I have no doubt that Trump knows exactly what kind of fraud happened, where the evidence is, and can probably get it if he needs to. I believe that the military is going to step in at some point and start cracking skulls and making arrests.
So the one thing that's like a saving grace sort of about the Q phenomena is that these people aren't calling on their audiences. They're not saying, oh, eventually we're going to have to do the violence, right? They're suggesting that the military or like some institutional power is going to do the violence. So that makes it a little less scary, right? It's like versus like calls to arms, like militia movements and whatnot. So we can definitely be, you know, I guess we can take a little solace in that, is that they think someone else is going to do it. Oh, let's hope that remains the case. Up next, because of course, little Nikki Fuentes also has a take. Now, I didn't have time to watch this beforehand, so let's hope little Nikki Fuentes doesn't drop like 4 or 5 slurs in this. Shout out to Right Wing Watch, by the way. We could not do this show without Right Wing Watch.
You're a fucking immigrant.
I mean, if you go back far enough, friendo, yes, we all are.
We have a black immigrant, and she's appointed by Obama, another non-citizen, another.
Wait, no, Obama is a United States citizen. You can say whatever, like whatever.
As non-citizen from Kenya.
No, he's not from Kenya.
Presiding over a case of a former president and a job creator and a billionaire and an all-around titan, admired man. And this person is going to throw a wrench in, and so she can.
Well, at least he referred to her as a person. We'll take the small victories where we can get them with this guy.
A campaign that she's going to talk to the King of America like this, like they pulled him over for having tinted windows. You're a criminal like anybody else. No, bitch. He's the King of America. You stupid bitch. Go back to Jamaica.
Whoa, Nikki, whoa, dude. See somebody in the chat saying NYC. You should bring that energy to fucking one of them bars, pubs in NYC. See how that goes for you, friendo.
Here, and you're going to try the guy that was voted the president by most of the voters.
Except that didn't happen either time.
We live here. We were born here. We're citizens. We have voting rights. We voted Trump into office. You come over here from some island and say, well, I'm going to treat him like a common criminal. The country, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes me insane.
But what if he's just an uncommon criminal? Then what?
Because that is such a joke. We are such a joke as a country. Say whatever you want about China and Russia. They respect the leaders. They respect the people in charge.
Or else. Wait, didn't like some paramilitary group almost just overthrow Russia?
Around like that. There's not talk about, they would never. Could you imagine a scenario where Putin or Xi were being treated like that by some foreigner?
Well, shout out to Right Wing Watch as usual. That, I don't know. If you're like a dictator and it's illegal to criticize, I'm not sure that what you get is respect. You get fear. You get compliance through fear, which is very different than respect. And I mean, that's sort of what Nicky Fuentes wants for the group of people that he represents, because he's said as much in clips we've played before, where he says that basically, I think like traditional, like white or white appearing American Christians should use force to impose their will on the rest of the country. That's basically his shtick. It's like white Christian nationalism. Up next, I was 50-50 on including this. We got something about election riggers.
Keith Boykin, a Democratic political commentator and former White House aide to Bill Clinton, he took issue with that term. Take a listen.
Oh, and he wants to find the riggers, his word, not mine, who stole the election from him. Rigger, please.
Boykin went on to say Trump's choice of words is not an accident after spending days making racist attacks against Fani Willis, the black woman leading the prosecution against him in Atlanta. Alyssa, what do you make of the racial accusation Keith Boykin was making there, that the use of the word rigger is not unintentional? President Trump has certainly been accused of racist language before.
Right. With Trump, you don't need to look for a dog whistle. It's a bullhorn when it comes to race. And I do think that's deliberate. We've seen slanderous attacks that he's put out against Fani Willis, alleged things I won't even repeat. So he's not really hiding that he's going to lean into that element. And this is taking place just outside of Atlanta. When you saw the courtroom, it was a lot of black men and women who were serving in that courtroom.
Oh, yeah, that's Atlanta. That's why he keeps these things keep happening in these cities because that's where the centers of power are in the United States, whether people like it or not. And so they look around in the city and they're like, oh, shit. Ah, shit. Can we move this trial to rural West Virginia, please? It's more diverse there. Up next, we got Bill Barr, stood up to Trump, true patriot, country over party, Bill Barr.
And that's because Trump is toxic to too many voters to put together the coalition necessary to win a decisive victory.
He'd be the Republican nominee, though, regardless, right?
Well, if he wins the nomination,
would
yes.
Bill Barr support him?
Well, I've already said I would jump off that bridge when I get to it.
But he would be the Republican standard bearer.
That's right. But as I've said...
now, the way you feel now, would you?
Well, I'd have to wait and see all the evidence that comes out about his conduct and so forth, right?
What about the things you've said in the past where you're like, I worked for him and he's a fucking crook? What happened to that, buddy? What happened to that?
Now, most of it is allegations, but I'd have to wait and see what the situation is. I've already explained that if I thought that one of two people is going to end up as the president, then I wouldn't throw my vote away. I would try to make a decision who would do the least damage to the country. But if there were other options, I would also consider.
Would you just not vote for president? Vote on down ticket?
No, if one of two people is going to do it, I would have to make that bitter choice. But and if there are other options,
but it's conceivable Bill Barr could vote for Donald Trump.
Well, I'm not. As I said, I'd jump off that bridge when I get to it.
Okay,
just say no. I think he lives in fucking New York City anyway. I think he either lives in New York or DC, so it doesn't matter if he votes for fucking Joe Biden or Donald Trump. That district or whatever is going to get carried by Joe Biden. So he could just say no, and then you go vote for whoever the fuck he wants. Nobody's going to fact check him. This guy's almost all the way to irrelevancy anyway. So he can just say whatever he wants on the fucking Cavuto show, and nobody will go back and fact check him. In fact, if I were that guy, man, I'd be sipping a cocktail on a beach somewhere, having somebody just bring me a cocktail. Just take the money and run, motherfucker. I don't understand why none of these people can do it. They get like caught up in some bullshit. They get paid, like paid. They have like this just massive amount of money. They can't just like go sit on a beach, drink a cocktail, and shut the fuck up. Because that's what this guy should do. That's what I would do. Well, that's what I'd do anyway. Yeah, somebody in chat said it's about ego and power, but that's the thing about Bill Barr is he's never gonna have no power ever again. Here we go. Here's Ron DeSantis. This guy's absolutely not going to win.
We have a strand in our party that views supporting Trump as whether you are a rhino or not. And so you could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. So it's been totally detached from principle and what you actually believe and results. And it's more about, just what faction you happen to do. So there'll be people who are huge Trump supporters, like in Congress, who have like incredibly liberal left-wing records that's really just atrocious. And yet they're viewed as by some of these folks as like really, really good. Then you have other people, like a Congressman Chip Roy, who's endorsed me, Congressman Thomas Massey. These guys have records of principle fighting the swamp that are second to none. And yet they will be attacked by some of these people and called rhinos. So it's just been totally detached from any type of substance. And ultimately, a movement can't be about the personality of one individual. The movement has got to be about what are you trying to achieve on behalf of the American people. And that's got to be based in principle. Because if you're not rooted in principle, if all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
And that guy just went down 3 or 4 points in the polling. Like I don't like this guy, right? But he could have from the drop just been like, I am the alternative. I'm the conservative alternative to Trump. I do not think he should be the president. Like he could have done that from the drop, and I think he'd be doing better. But he lacks the charisma, I think, to pull it off, and apparently just lacks like the intestinal fortitude to try it. So he's like trying to like sort of have it both ways. And even people who might be inclined to vote for him, who don't like Donald Trump, they can kind of see how it's kind of mealy mouthed and shit, and they're not interested. So here he is again.
So we are going to authorize the use of deadly force against the cartels. If you have somebody coming in with the fentanyl in the backpack, they even break through the border wall where there is wall. If they're doing that, that's the last thing they're going to be able to do, because we're going to leave them stone cold dead at the border. We're not putting up with it anymore.
So extrajudicial executions of foreign nationals.
So speaking of the
extrajudicial execution of foreign nationals. All right. I mean, that's some red meat for the base, right? But I'm saying he could be doing all that crazy shit and be like, and Trump's not the guy to do it. Trump's not going to do it. But he doesn't have what it takes to try to pull that off. So up next we got Kristi Noem. She is going to talk about basically welfare programs, saying that those are means to control you.
For a moment in time to start fixing this situation. This is our kids and grandkids that we're leaving this debt to. It keeps me up at night sometimes thinking about the situation that this country is in, and the fact that we have leaders who will keep giving handouts in order to keep people under their control. And it needs to stop. I think we need to recognize people my age, people that have kids and grandkids out there. We need to start telling the story of how important it is that people control their own money, that you don't have the government making all your decisions. What the
fuck? I think they're talking about student loan relief there, and if you relieve all or some of somebody's student loan debt, they're going to have more options in front of them. They're going to be able to make more different decisions. not for nothing, they might be more inclined to start a family, which is what these people claim they want, right? There's a lot of this, oh, you better, a lot of this have some white baby shit going on. Well, if you eliminate student loan for some of these people, they might be more inclined to have kids and like fucking do the picket fence shit and stuff because they can afford to. But those are poor people. Anyway, here we go. Every once in a while, Fox's The Five is a little bit of fun. It gets a little spicy. And here's a Jessica Tarlov. She's basically like the kind of token, like a center-left liberal on The Five. And she really, really pissed off Judge Boxwine Jeanine and aggressively unfunny Greg Gutfeld here.
On the trans issue, for instance, our own Fox polling shows that 57% of Americans think that trans kids and their families being the target of political attacks and these anti-trans bills is a major problem. When you look at the actual numbers of kids that are, for instance, they have gender dysphoria and they're getting top surgery, how many kids do you think got top surgery last year? Under 300. Then think about an issue that's really important to Democrats.
Is that for children? 300?
Minors.
Children.
Yes.
That's an atrocity, but continue.
Okay. But over 5,800 kids were victims of gun violence, for instance. I don't hear Republicans talking about that. Tyranny of the minority.
False comparison.
It absolutely isn't. It's a priority on the right to talk about trans issues, a priority on the left to talk about gun violence, which affects more people. Abortion is another instance of the tyranny of the minority. I get it. Federalism, you send it back to the states, where a group of elected officials have decided, for instance, in like Texas, Louisiana, that women should not be able to get abortions after 6 weeks. We have women that are bleeding out, going into sepsis. In Louisiana, a woman was forced to carry a baby that had no skull.
What's this have to do with this topic?
What are you talking about? He says tyranny of the minority.
But that had to do with LGBTQ, not with all of your favorite issues.
He's running to be president of the United States of America.
But that's not what we're talking about. I asked you specifically about the pronouns.
And then I said why he was wrong to act as if the GOP is the party of the majority opinion. They are not. They're taking minority positions and running with them.
Pro-life isn't a minority position.
It is, actually.
What are you going to talk about the fact that it's like 48%?
I'm going to talk about the 69% is the highest that it's ever been recorded that now support abortion at least through the first trimester.
First trimester?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's happening then in Ohio and Kansas and Kentucky if it's
What's
not?
the Democrat stance on abortion?
That it's between a woman and her doctor to make those decisions?
What's the cutoff? Would you call that tyranny of minority as well? I think the logic here
they fucking pissed off.
And that we want to kill live babies.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm just pointing out that this is actually the right argument, but go ahead.
Oh, okay.
We finally got to the right argument?
We're getting there.
I'd like to get back to the issue. And
the issue is not calling someone son or leaf.
The issue is not abortion today. The issue...
The issue we're going to lose on isn't going to be abortion. It's going to be rights for trans people and trans youth. We're going to lose on that. We're not going to lose on abortion. Well, you're going to lose on both probably, but you may not lose, but it won't be because you got the most votes. It'll be because of gerrymandering in the Electoral College. Like, not for nothing, the Senate is the biggest and most powerful gerrymander in this country. Think about how many people live in California and think about how many people live in Wyoming. Now they both get 2 senators. So then they were talking, the tyranny of the minority. Well, I think that's the tyranny of the minority. Anyway, like I said, sometimes the 5 is a little bit good, and the ladies, they're basically kind of center right with generally progressive leaning social positions and doesn't really talk about the economy and economic stuff. And she really made them mad. Good for her. Good for her. I hope she keeps that job. So, up next, bit of a palate cleanser. It's about an existential crisis, but it's only available while supplies last.
Tired of constantly cleaning your pots and pans? Me too. I'm tired of a lot of things, actually. I'm tired of constantly thinking about my own mortality, knowing it could all end in a split second. Imagine being one of those suckers on that submarine thinking you're just gonna go see the Titanic. Before you know it, you're being vaporized. The human body is incredibly fragile, and we're basically just piñatas full of blood waiting to be whacked by the Grim Reaper. I fear going outside, but staying indoors makes me feel like I'm wasting precious minutes of my life. What's that all about? Every day I'm basically decaying a little bit more, but here I am worrying thinking about my taxes. Why do I even care about finding an efficient solution for cleaning my pots and pans for a low, low price of $19.99 with shipping and handling when death is inevitable? But wait, there's more. I'm so scared all the time. Don't wait, call now at this toll-free number. Call now because this offer is available for a limited time only, as are we, right? Because all time is limited. Planet keeps getting hotter. The Atlantic Ocean's basically a seafood boil. If you call right now, you'll get 2 whatevers for the price of 1. This offer is fleeting, as is life, and I wish someone would hold me.
I almost didn't put that on there, but we needed a palate cleanser this week, so that was it. That was it. Here's Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert, she just keeps trying to impeach Joe Biden, and even like not enough of her own party is going to go along with her on it.
District. She serves on the House Oversight Committee and joins me now. Lauren, you really turned the investigation talk into impeachment talk with articles of impeachment you filed against President Biden last month. Speaker McCarthy has been teasing an impeachment inquiry. Do you expect an impeachment vote when we return to Washington in September?
Matt, one way or another, we will have a vote on impeachment for Joe Biden, because if we don't have an impeachment inquiry in the Judiciary Committee or any other committee for that matter, I will go to the floor once again with a privileged motion and force an up or down vote on impeachment.
It'll be down. Like members of your own party won't do it.
For Joe Biden. Americans are tired of this. Article 2, Section 4 says the president, the vice president, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. We have the evidence for the bribery, for the corruption, for this compromised president, Joe Biden, Robert L. Peters, whatever you want to call him.
Robert L. Peters, what the fuck is that?
You heard it here. Lauren Boebert is going to force the vote if the inquiry does not produce articles of impeachment for the House of Representatives. Congresswoman Boebert, we get...
Even most of her, like maybe not most of her own party, but a substantial minority of her own party isn't even going to go along with it because they know that it's not going to work, and it's just all that'll happen is it'll drive like a turnout for their opponents. And to some extent, I think the impeachment stuff on Trump drove turnout for his people too. Just maybe not enough to like get him across the line in the few places where he thought he could eke out the votes to win the Electoral College. Up next, we got Lauren Witzke, and I don't know the name of her co-host, but they've got somebody on. And won't someone think of the young white men? Won't someone think of the young white men? Could we just go back to Gamergate?
What's happened is what a lot of black people have complained about over the years, perhaps rightfully so, for being targeted or profiled based on their race. That's now happening to younger white men. I mean, you go into a store and they'll follow us around now.
Sir, you're like my age. You're not younger white men.
You know, but they truly, genuinely believe that we're the problem.
Like, but he's not. He's 35 if he's a day, right? He's not. He might be my age. I'm 46. That guy might be my age. So I don't know. Like, if he's getting profiled at the store, maybe it's just because he's stolen there before. Who fucking knows? Here we got some transphobia about chess because, of course,
World Chess Federation bars transgender women from competing in women's chess events. What do you make of that? Not an athletic sport. It's a mental sport. I mean, all sports are mental to some extent, but what do you make of that?
I think it's really interesting because we have sports such as powerlifting, which is, of course, sheerly based on strength, who aren't even taking this much precaution. And so I applaud the Chess Association. It's, you know, you hear the argument about brain size and brain ability if it differs between male and female. But I think that's missing the point. The point is that the women's category is meant for women, and having men compete in it is still taking spots away from women. The women's chess category, I guess, was created for a reason.
Were these people fans of women's chess?
And they're upholding that. And so I applaud the Chess Association for the decision and really prioritizing.
Oh, it's Riley Gaines.
Prioritizing.
She was the one that got run out of San Francisco State University.
What it means to be a woman.
Okay. Riley, thank you very much. Good to see you today. Riley Gaines. I don't know, when Queen's Gambit, she was beating all the boys.
Yeah, somebody in chat talked about co-ed chess. I feel like something like chess. Why don't we just make it co-ed and or just make it for everyone, not just co-ed, right? I think co-ed suggests binary. Why don't we just be like we have one chess league and then we expand it so that it's twice as big? I don't see why we need men's and women's chess. It seems kind of dumb. Anyway, here's Newsmax. Newsmax, they're going to have the facts about how we should conduct ourselves as Americans going forward in the culture war.
Oh, it's embarrassing. It doesn't appear like we're a serious country. At least our country right now is not very serious about defense. These are the sorts of things that our Pentagon is focused on, as opposed to trying to figure out maybe why we lost the last two wars that we were engaged in. Now, they hoisted this whole idea on us under the auspices of just live and let live and don't bother other people. How's it any skin off your back if somebody claims to be a woman or an egg producer or whatever they want to call it? But that wasn't actually the end goal here. The end goal was trying to teach it to your children. And this was not a gathering of adults. The group he was speaking at was not a group that just tries to talk about gay rights to adults. It was one that preaches this stuff to K through 12 education, that tells kindergartners that this is not, or gender is not a real thing. It's predatory, and it's not just a live and let live thing anymore. Right now,
I don't
it's really
think
that says
that's happening.
If you don't accept this predatory mental illness, then you're a bigot, and it is actually.
Well, what you just said is bigoted, so yes.
For your kids.
All right, Shamika, about 30 seconds each for each of you right here. So tell us, it's not getting any better, though. And the more we're talking about it ad nauseum here, but the left just calls us, as Chris points out, we're bigoted and
I hope the lady in the right frame is like, y'all are bigots, though.
Homophobic.
Yeah, I actually think if that's the case, we need to be more homophobic. We need to take it up a notch, because these people have continued to do this because we failed to shame them. We failed to put our feet down and stand tall and say what we believe without the fear of being canceled. Now is not the time to worry about having friends. It is about linking up with people who have the same values as you and realizing this is a war between good and evil. And if we don't stand tall, we're going to lose.
Chris?
So this is like what they were saying, right? Like, this is the slippery slope argument. They were making it during the fight for gay marriage. They're just still doing it now. They're like, see, look, we gave them gay marriage and they're not happy with that. They want rights for other people, like we said they would. And so now we have to, like, now, I don't know, we should go like hate people more. Like, that doesn't seem very effective. This is fucking dumb. Just to come out and say it too. She's like, we should just be more homophobic. What? I mean, whatever. They're free to do it. Anyway, so this guy's appearance on the Steve Bannon show, he was out in Maui. He's a right-wing independent journalist. I like how the person who put this up didn't even use the guy's name. He's out in Maui, and the people in Maui, they didn't like him so much. Check this out.
Yes, it is. Yes. That was one of the questions that it's, like I said, it's been burning in a lot of people's minds here.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I've been trying to reach you. Been reaching out to you on X. You're supposed to be meeting with people here. What victims have you had?
Okay, yeah. So this is so you're seeing this live right now. People actually tracked me down.
I thought you were staying in a tent. You said you were coming and staying in a tent, Nick. You're taking up resources.
I'm not taking up any resources here.
Yes, you are.
No, I want to stay with it.
I don't know how you live with yourself, man. You've seen the devastation. You've seen the people. I can see you cheering up because you know how much these people are suffering.
No, you're literally here. You just.
Okay.
Look, even Bannon kind of likes this. Look at Bannon. Bannon's like, oh, this needs to keep going. He's like, this.
different when people do it to you.
So Nick, what is the issue?
This is real, dude. This is what I'm getting chased. Is what's going on.
No, you're walking. The guy stayed at least 3 or 4 feet away from him. Wasn't even yelling at him. Was like, hey, I thought you were staying in a tent. Are you here interviewing some of the victims? Like, which victims have which people who need help have you interviewed?
Now, see, this is what happened. I ended up getting doxxed by these. These. Look.
Picture right there. The first day you posted a picture right there.
Dude, it's not doxing when you announce that you're going to Maui. And then they find you.
I didn't post a picture of myself.
You posted a picture of your location, the palm trees, the water.
He's like, I figured out where you were because your OPSEC is terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm floored right now.
That's okay. Are you safe? Are you safe?
I don't know. I
He's
honestly,
safe.
I don't know.
Physically safe, but the damage to his ego is substantial.
I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just
like even the birds are talking shit to this guy.
I'm just gonna try to quickly get away. So I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. This is terrifying.
No, it's not.
This is terrifying.
Like, one guy came and told you that he basically, the other dude, as far as I can tell, the other dude was not behaving in an aggressive way. In fact, I heard the other guy's voice start to crack, right? Like, the other guy sounded like he was about to cry. He was legitimately upset that this person was out there, like, not trying to help anybody, not trying to raise awareness, not trying to help any of the local charities, just out there trying to raise his own profile. Look, the other guy's nowhere.
I don't even want to go near my vehicle.
The other guy's nowhere near you. I bet because you didn't see the other guy for quite some time in this video. I bet once this other dude started to flee, once the dude on the Bannon was interviewing decided to flee, the other guy was like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to chase him.
I don't want them to know what vehicle I'm driving either.
And Nick, what are the issues that these guys? What?
He doesn't know what issues they were facing because he went out there, rented a car, by the way, using resources, probably up in a hotel room, claimed he was sleeping in a tent, and then went out there specifically probably just to get on the fucking Steve Bannon show and raise his own profile. And one of the locals came up to him and was like, hey, who have you interviewed? Which of the people who have been suffering from this fire have you interviewed? Where are you staying? You said you were staying in a tent. Are you staying in a tent? He's like, you doxed me. And the guy's like, I figured out where you were because you took pictures of where you were and you told everybody you were going to Maui. Very poor OPSEC. And the guy was I don't think there was any point at which that he was in physical danger. Good on whoever that guy was. So up next, the title of this is, who's taking down your videos? Who's taking down your videos? This is one of them Christian hate preachers, Bruce Mejia. He's at this church we don't run. I see this background like on a lot of videos, and I usually just skip it. Like when I either see it like on my feed or when I see it in the Discord, because I'm like, I don't really want to run shit from this fucking church. But this one's pretty. Well, you'll never guess who he thinks is having his videos taken down.
This church right here is a valuable field. It's a very valuable field. And, it breaks my heart when people don't value church. Thank God for the internet. We thank God for YouTube, although I don't really thank God for it anymore because I can't seem to keep a channel. They're just constantly being deleted over and over again. And, I hate YouTube sometimes. I'll just be honest with you. You put all this work into YouTube. I'm like trying to purchase that field, and then it's just like, the Jews take it over, and then they rob me of my field, basically.
Wait, what? Of course. It's the Jews. They're the ones they're having his videos taken down. It's the Jews, the YouTube guys. Motherfucker. That's why, like, when I see this background, I just don't run videos from it usually, because it's like, well, this is just going to be like something like something like hateful and not funny or interesting. So here's more of Lauren Witzke. She is going to just do a straight up great replacement rhetoric here. Like, not even try to hide it. Just straight up great replacement. Here it goes.
Why is America and our government importing people who don't share American values? They aren't Christians. They participate in actually demonic religions, a lot of them.
So, not for nothing, most of the people coming from Mexico, South and Central America are in fact Christians. Not that that's a not that that's a deciding factor on who can come here. But the thing is, it's just that she's wrong. I think she knows it too.
They're into voodoo, they're into Allah, and
they're
they
into
are
voodoo and Allah.
The American people who came here fleeing religious persecution. That's why America was founded. It was a place for Christians who were fleeing persecution. So they
by the Church of England, which was also Christian. It's a little more complicated, Liz.
Could practice Christianity freely. That's what America is based on. But now we are being outnumbered by these imported migrants who do not share our values, do not share our religion, our culture, and they're lazy, Stu. That's the thing. Nobody wants to talk about how these immigrants that we are bringing in are lazy.
Did she say they're simultaneously stealing our jobs and they're lazy? It's Schrodinger's immigrant. Shout out to Right Wing Watch. Well, which is it? Are they lazy or are they taking jobs from other people? Because I mean, I guess it could be both, but that's really, whoever's hiring them is a really shitty business person, right? Like, and speaking of Stu Peters, up next we got Stu Peters talks about how the federal government is actually an occupying force. Again, shout out to Right Wing Watch. They watch hours of Stu Peters so that we don't have to.
This demands action, and it demands it right now. So if you live in Georgia, here's what you demand. A special session of the Georgia legislature immediately.
Yeah, they're the Georgia legislature. They don't want to go to work. You think that your state legislature wants to go to work just because you tell them to? Get out of here.
Fund the Fulton County DA's office and remove Fani Willis from power immediately. And if a judge tries to stop you, ignore them.
She was elected.
Ignore them.
But then how do you stop her? Or like, how do you remove her from, does then the legislature just like all dry? Like, how do they remove her?
In every other red state, here's what you demand. Cease all cooperation with the federal government on anything. Immediately. No cooperation on any law enforcement. No providing any requested federal data. Treat the Biden regime as, at best, an occupying power in a conquered land. Be defiant.
But the thing that you said about Georgia at the beginning was amazing. The Georgia legislature ain't going to have a special session for this. And they're not going to remove her either because they can't. I think she could be removed by recall in the district where she was voted in. And maybe there may not even be recalls in Atlanta. I don't know for sure, but I think that's how she would be removed, would be by recall. It would have to be by the location where she was voted in. You can't just, as the state legislature, start removing people from power because you don't like their politics, you don't like what they're doing. Because if you could, as the state legislature, California would just remove 3 out of 5 of the Shasta County Board of Supervisors, and there wouldn't be no problems anymore in Shasta. But you can't do that, can you? Anyway, Laura Loomer went on the Tim Pool show, and it went probably exactly how you assume it went.
I don't like this idea that, it's just young people consumed with TikTok and culture. There's a lot of young people that care about the economy, that care about the fact that by 2045, do you know that Generation Z is the last generation in this country that's going to be majority white? We're not going to have a majority white America anymore. So what I'm saying is that we are being
But like, what if I don't care?
What is the race that people have to do with?
Well, what I'm talking about is that
Like even Tim Pool was like, come on.
we're being replaced, right? So people have talked about replacement theory, and they've talked about the fact that we've been invaded. We've had an immigration invasion into our country that is changing our culture. So you're saying that politics is downstream from culture, but nobody.
Well, that's what Andrew Breitbart said, and I think he's right.
Seems to care about the fact that immigration is fundamentally transforming the traditional culture of our country.
Right,
and there's young people that care about that. Not all young people are
people that are coming to the U.S. that are wicked conservative.
We've lost our culture.
Right. So the racial component I don't see as mattering.
No, but I'm just using that statistic because that was a news report.
Tim wants to pretend he's playing make believe now.
The other day, there was a study out that said that Generation Z is going to be the last generation in which America, if you look at the census, right now we're currently a majority white country.
Yeah.
Because of the mass migration and all of the immigration into our country. And so if you're making the argument that politics is downstream from culture, well, what's culture if we're not even going to have
race and culture are not the same thing?
Well,
so I don't care about that statistic.
Well, I think that I just know that there's a lot of people in Generation Z that are focused on topics like immigration and the fact that we're being invaded.
It is important. Rapid, uncontrolled immigration can distort a country's culture and then twist its laws. So we do have to be careful about that. I agree with you, though. I don't think that like where your great grandfather lived matters about your culture. Like but different cultures.
When I'm saying a majority white, I'm talking about the fact that like America, right from its inception, right. I'm talking about America as a white Christian country. That is originally like what our country was. And so
but the First Amendment said
it's not for people to be it's not supposed to
even who was this other guy like they don't like her. They're like you're making it tough for me to do my shtick.
So triggered when you say majority
here's
white.
What I love.
I don't even know what white is.
None
of us are white.
The transformation of our country.
Yo, who was that other guest? That other guest was like, none of us are, he said WASP. That was a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which used to be the thing that everybody wanted. Now they just want you to kind of look white or whatever. And she's like, oh, well, it's about culture. It's about culture. And even I don't know who, maybe the guy that was the other guest, maybe that guy's totally cool, but Tim doesn't tend to have very many people on who I think are cool. But she just, like, the people were like, no. They were like, no, don't do this. Why are we could just not do this. Let's not do this. And she was like, no, we're going to do this. I'm going to do this. But if you remember, she's one of the funniest things that ever happened was I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. It had to be less than 4.5 years ago because we were doing video when this was happening. She had gotten kicked off of Twitter. And so she handcuffed herself to the Twitter building in New York City. So somebody at Twitter was like, oh, I'm going to bring her a coffee. They brought her a big ass cup of coffee. And then she left because she had to pee. It was amazing. One of my favorite Laura Loomer moments. But yeah, like, I don't know. I didn't expect that clip to go that way. I thought that, I thought maybe the people on Timcast were going to kind of try to go halfway or hem and haw about it. But Tim was like, I don't care about that. And that was kind of surprising. So, up next, this is our last story for the podcast part of the show before we go into red light. There was a right-wing gala. It was the Mike Lindell thing, and it was pretty cooked, but there were also some pretty funny things. Somebody collapsed from heat stroke, and then a man dressed like the Tea Party came up to offer Narcan.
What the hell's going on over here, guys? I have Narcan in the car. Do we need it? Do we need Narcan? I have it.
Yeah, somebody in the audience collapsed from heat stroke. The guy's like, I have Narcan. I have Narcan.
Breathe, brother, breathe.
No, it was just hot in there.
A safe space. Surrounded by beautiful people. You got the best doctor in the world. You say the word, I got Narcan, baby. Tell me.
He thinks it's fentanyl. Anytime anybody collapses, it must be fentanyl. Like, it's not fentanyl. At one point during this, Laura Loomer seems to have won an award, but the guy who was just offering the person with heat stroke fentanyl decided maybe he didn't want to give Laura Loomer the award. Oh, this is the Liberty Awards. This isn't the Mike Lindell thing. I have the Mike Lindell thing later. This is some InfoWars shit. My mistake. It's so hard to keep these things straight.
And the winner of Best Investigative Journalist is... It says... This is a spelling error? Laura Loomer? Laura Loomer!
They just gave... Wait, they give it to Owen Schroyer instead. That's Owen Schroyer of InfoWars. This is really poorly put together. The audio's terrible.
Look, we can fucking do what we want! Owen Schroyer, get up here! Laura Loomer dissed us! Fuck that shit! What?
Wait, did she not show up? Oh, that's the audio on it was really bad. I looked for like a good feed of it, and I couldn't find one. That would have been amazing though. They talked a little bit about it on Knowledge Fight. I don't think they found a good feed. I think they were just able to sit through more of it than I was able to. But that sucks. They took Laura Loomer's award away from her. Poor Laura. Anyway, that's been the podcast part of the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out. I know we usually don't do this on a Monday. We usually do it on Sunday. I didn't feel so hot yesterday. I'm glad I took the day to rest. And still a little tired because I had a lot of shit to do today. But anyway, thanks for checking out the podcast. If you're listening on the podcast feed, do follow us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. You can support this project, of course, at echoplexmedia.com. Click the support tab and you can find many ways to do it. I'm going to change the contents of my beverage, change the color of the lighting in the studio, and we'll be back with red light. This is Boomers by Periscope.